So, good evening, sir. As discussed earlier, I will be taking you on React.js. The approach I'll be taking will be much different from what we have observed most trainers do take. I notice that most times, most of them make a lot of assumptions and they don't come down to the very basics and fundamentals uh, for people who are entirely new to React.js and who are coming from different backgrounds who might likely not be too familiar with JavaScript and uh, other related programming languages that are similar to JavaScript or in the family of JavaScript. So I'll be taking a much more different approach, and it's going to be very elementary and looking at the fundamentals and rudiments so you understand very clearly what is going on behind the scene and be able to quickly pick it up and be very familiar and conversant and um, find it friendly for you to be able to handle and don't have any phobia so that you can easily advance and also work on applications of different nature and of different type no matter how complex they may be. So without much ado, I would be quickly going practically into what we have to do because we'll be writing a lot of codes. So what I've decided to do is to come up with, I'm going to power on, I already have one of my editors powered on. This is Atom. So if you don't mind, you can install Atom if you don't have it. I wouldn't want to close it. I've already opened it, so I wouldn't want to take much time. So I have Atom open. You also have Visual Studio Code open, which I know you're becoming familiar with. So what I'm going to do is that for the Atom, I'm going to be creating React app using HTML. So I would be coming from where you are very familiar and conversant with, which is the web design and development background. So right now I have my Atom open. If you don't have Atom, you can use any other editor that you have in your system. But if you don't mind, if you want to install Atom, you can go ahead and install it so that we can work together. Atom is one editor that I love using because of its user interface, its user friendly interface, and because of the way it manages files and also um, its uh, code indicators when I write code, and it also has a little bit of IntelliSense too. So now you can see I've created a directory here with the name Learn React. Let me show you where it is. Let me open it. So it's in my ht directory, and this is it here. You can see it's XAMPP ht. So I created this react underscore, I created this learn underscore react directory inside this ht. So you can do the same thing too. So the files I'm going to be working with are going to be in this directory in ht. So I'm going to be calling it from my web server. Okay, is that okay? So now that's for that. Now I'm going to create the first file. Now you know in web design, our first file it's normally named index. Okay, so I'm going to create this one index.html. So I've created it. I open it. So I'm going to create my HTML structure. I'll be a little bit fast so um, we can cover as much as possible in a short while. But I'll take my time to explain everything you need to understand. So the ones I assume that you are familiar with or should know, I'll move a little bit fast in that particular section, and I will slow down in those ones I think I need to take more time to explain. So in my title, I say Learn React. So I close my title tag. I close my head tag. The head tag embodies your title tag. Then I open my body tag. I uh, close my body tag and I close my HTML. Now we have a full HTML page with the HTML structure. I want to believe you are very conversant with this. So I can save it, Ctrl S to save it, go to my browser. Let me load it. Have my, yes. So let me call it localhost. My system is becoming slow. Localhost, I used learn React, and I call this page. You can see this is our first page. It has rendered. You can see the title here, the title that we gave it here, learn React. You can see it here. You can see learn React. What I'm using to navigate between the windows is Alt tab. I'm holding Alt key down, and I simply touch on the tab key, so it navigates between the different windows that are open. So that's how I quickly move. Okay, you can see what I'm doing. All right, so now come back. So what I would do here, the first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to, you can see, I'm going to create a div here. So I create a div here. Okay, this is my div, right? This div is like a container that is going to hold some text within the page. I don't just want to put text in the page, right? I can decide to put content in that page in different containers, almost like putting them in different paragraphs, but I want them to be in different containers. So this div, okay, is an HTML element, is a container tag that holds uh, a content between its open and close tag. So here now I'm going to call this root. Now this root, I'm going to give it an ID. This ID, it's the name that I identify this container element with, and I can use to reference it. I'm going to call this root. So just watch this. You'll find the similarity when you get to nps create react app. Right, I'm going to show you this part in that nps react. Just take note of this. So when I save it, let's come here, let's go back to our browser and let's load it, and let's see. It's going to render on our page. You can see it here. It's going to render through. Now let's see where React JS comes in. Now we know that React JS is a JavaScript library. Now let's see how that connects. Now normally our JavaScript is written anywhere in our HTML page. You can write it in the head portion, it can be in the body portion, or it can be after the body portion, wherever you want to put it. But let's start with the head portion now. I've added a JavaScript tag. This JavaScript tag now is going to tell the browser that whatever is enclosed in this script tag is JavaScript code, and it should interpret it as such. So let's run one code and let's see if it's interpreting it as a JavaScript code. Now I'm going to say alert, learn JavaScript. So I'm going to put a semicolon. The semicolon is to delimit every statement. So this is one statement, and it signifies the end of that statement. The punctuation, it's a punctuation. You are punctuating that, okay, I'm done with the statement. Go on, interpret it, and attribute it to the console. So we save it. Let's see. It should give us. You can see it has given us the alert here. This is a pure raw JavaScript. So we have JavaScript running in our page. Now let's see. How do we get React to run on our page? React is a library. It means that we have to be able to import certain JavaScript, sets of JavaScript codes into our page and be able to use it. That's what a library is. A library is a collection of something. Okay, a library can be a collection of books, but in this case, it's a collection of codes, JavaScript codes that have been built into different functions that we can easily call to execute something. So it makes it easy for us. We don't have to go back to start writing these codes ourselves. They're already there. So we can easily pick them and use them, okay, in our own way to be able to get things done um, in our application, whichever way we want to go about doing that. So it doesn't really define the way we go about it. That's why it's a library and not a framework. So the next thing we do, it's I don't know if this thing is still um, recording. So the next thing we do now, so to get or for us to be able to run um, React in this, what we need to do, we need to import the library. So I'm going to use the CDN library to do this. So come to your browser, go to Google and type React CDN. I'm going to get React.js CDN, and I'm also going to get um, Babel CDN. The Babel, it's the library that's going to help you to be able to execute JSX JSX code in your HTML, in your and JavaScript. So we would get to JSX itself quite easy. Don't be bothered about it. Let's just take it a step at a time, and you see how interesting this is. So let me get, I'm just going to copy this code. So when you get to, you can see reactjs.org/documents. You can go to that link and copy this. I take the first one, which is the development uh, um, on minified version. I take that and I put it in the head portion of my page. I'm going to remove that one, and I also go look for Babel. I'm going to come to look up Babel. Babel CDN. Say Babel JS. Babel JS CDN, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so take it from here. So I'm going to copy it. This is it here. Yeah, this is it. Just copy this one. I think you're ready to go. So I put it here. So there's one more thing you need to do. This type, you have to specify the type. This type is going to be test and Babel. Now let's execute and see if our code is seen on that now. See, I'm going to uh, okay, right now I can't. I have to put this separate. Okay, you have to put this like this. You get it? So this is it. Alright. So let me do something so quickly. Let me remove this script from here. So this one stands alone. And let me put this one in the body so we can see what we're doing. Save it. Come to your page and load it. Let's see. Okay, fine, good. Now I want you to do something. Right click. Now that you have introduced your React, and even before this was introduced and we were writing JavaScript errors do not display. They are not displayed on the HTML page. You can only see it in your inspector. So right click on your page, go to inspect. Okay, open your inspector. I like having it by the side. So if yours is at the bottom, you see these three dots in vertical order. Click on it. I want to show you how you can have it in different position on your browser. You can see this shows you where you can have it where this which is where it is. You can take it to the right hand side. Okay, Okay, you can